YouTube? This is Aaron with Quality Service Today Plumbing again. Real quick, I'm going to be going over what I call a major toilet rebuild. We're going to be taking the whole tank off this toilet, replacing all the parts in it. Typically, why you do that is preventative. Maybe you have one small issue. The toilet's, several years old. Chlorine and city water sometimes, not sometimes, all the time. Chlorine's pretty caustic. It rots at your rubber seals. That's why they make chlorine-resistant flappers. The other reason you'd probably be doing this is you got to take the tank off anyhow. Maybe your tank to bowl bolts down here at the bottom are dripping, or the flush valve seal is leaking. So we're gonna go over that real quick. Basically, if you're gonna replace one part, a lot of times toilets these days with water quality, it's best to go ahead and just change all the parts. If the toilet's not antique and needs to be updated. So we'll jump in right quick. I'll show you how to do that. First thing you're gonna do is, see if you can see this. We're gonna shut our quarter turn angle stop off here. We're gonna turn that. We're gonna shut that off. We're gonna flush our toilet. Get all the water out of this toilet. Typically you'd take a shop vac, but in this case I'm going to go ahead and pull my flapper off. I'm going to be changing that. Trying to hold this camera at the same time. Pull that off of there. So in this case, I don't have my shop vac. So the other thing you can do is slosh that water as much as you can down the flush valve. And also take a rag and wring this out. Alright, we got all our water out of the tank. We're going to be, see if you can see them bolts down there. We're going to be getting them bolts out. Alright, this toilet has 3 bolts in the bottom of it. Is what we're going to do is, alright, this toilet has 3 bolts in the bottom of it. We're going to go ahead and disconnect our supply line. We're going to take it off. Usually keep a rag down here underneath, catch any excess water. Definitely don't want water running down underneath. If sometimes these bolts are froze up, you got to take a Sawzall, stick the blade in there and cut them off. Pretty tedious, nerve-wracking. You don't want to break the toilet tank, so you got to be real careful. But that's pretty much how you get them off. It's not ideal, but when the toilet bolts, get in that condition, sometimes it's best to look at just replacing them. So in this toilet, we got 2. We're gonna pull our donut gasket off. Pull that off of there. A lot of times it's best use a 9/16 nut driver. I don't have one handy, but we're going to pop these loose. The other thing you can do is if there's massive corrosion on the top of the bolt, on the inside of the tank, look in there, look like a bunch of fungus. Pop these bolts out here. Look like a bunch of fungus on top. Sometimes you take a flathead and it'll break just the whole top of the bolt off and you just pick the tank up. The other thing you do is take a metal drill bit right in the top of the bolt from the top side and drill it. Get the head off. Of course, you got a porcelain tank, don't break it. That's another way without having to take a Sawzall to the bolt. So we're going to take a lot of times some big channel locks work best for this. This is what we got here. We're gonna get this nut taken off. This is the bottom of the flush valve. The other thing you can do is take an oscillating tool and cut into that. If the nut won't come off, cut the nut in half with an oscillating tool. Keep in mind you're working with porcelain. But that's one quick little cheat way to get it off. Pull this out. Put that to the side. Last bolt. Do your flush valve, your fill valve. Throw that down to the side. And there you go. No more parts in the toilet tank. So we got our flush valve. We got our fill valve. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do the hard stuff first. Sometimes this stuff comes with a kit. Sometimes they come with 3 bolts. If they don't come with 3 bolts, this tank has 3 bolts in it. So I'm going to use 2 packs. Get my bolts. Put my washers on. The instructions, sometimes in the box store ones say to put a washer here. Do not put a washer there. The seal goes right on the bolt. We're going to pop our bolt. Just bolt and seal. Get the hole. One, two. We're going to put a seal on the bottom. Washer. Nut. Now, so what I'm going to do here, I like using nut drivers. I wish I had mine. I don't have my nut driver. It's a 9/16 nut driver. You get them on Amazon. So we'll just use our Knipex. Tighten this up. Nut driver's a lot quicker. I'm going to tighten it up until I see that seal kind of beveling on the inside and smushing out. Same thing with all of them. Before I get that too far, I should probably put this in first. My mistake. Usually you're going to want to put this in first. Let's screw your nut. Usually you put pipe dope on this, a little more reassurance. This one comes with a flapper. Sometimes they don't come with flappers on them. I'll show you on the 3-bolt ones. You want to be able to see the head of the bolt, so you're going to set it off to one side. If it's 2-bolt, you can do that because there's only 2. We're going to set that thing off to one side so I can see it. We're going to put our nut on. Flat face of this kind of nut goes to the tank. Get that tightened down. You want to grab the ears of the nut if you can. Because when you grab the whole nut, it smushes it. It grips it to the threads. We're going to get it tight. You want it good and tight, but you don't want it so tight that the nut pops. Now we can tighten these up. Tighten them until the washer starts smoothing, smushing flat. Now you can put your donut on there. I have the donut gasket on there all the way on. Put our fill valve in. Tighten that up. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my supply line on. Getting tight. Quarter turn past hand tight. Both of those. I'm going to set the tank back on the toilet. Alright, so you got your you got all your tank and everything mounted up. We're going to put a washer and a nut on each bolt. Get that started. I'm going to lean the tank. I'm going to put pressure on the tank on that side. Put pressure on the tank on this side. Pushing down on the tank. Now I'm going to push back on the tank. Is what this does is this seals that tank's bowl seal. We're going to snug it down with a nut driver. Should have done that first. You can take your hose, clip it the length, put it in here. I'm going to cut that down to the water level height. Take your flapper, hook it on one of the outer hooks, hold your chain, make sure you got most of the slack out of it. You want the chain kind of one length loose roughly, but if it's too loose you'll have to hold the handle down for it to flush. Then you want to take the slack out of it. Reach down, turn the water on. Now we're going to fill this toilet up. We're going to dye test it. We're going to flush it about 3 or 4 times. Make sure it's flushing right. When you tighten your tank up, you want to make sure it's sitting kind of level. You want to make sure there's not a lot of play in it. It's snug. Yeah, you really want to cut this first. It makes it a lot easier. I forgot to do that, so had to come back and do it. You want it up near the top. You want it about 1/8 to 1/4 away. To adjust your fill valve, you got this collar. You reach in there, you pull it up with the water turned off so you can slide it up and down. You want it sitting right there right about on top. See if I can get this to show you. You want this sitting about flush with that. And that's how you rebuild a toilet. Like I said, you want to dye test the toilet when you get done. Just make sure there's no leaks showing up in the bowl. Check around the bottom, flush it about 3 or 4 times, and you're good to go.